Yes, I think we're going to go into the team sheets now, actually. So we'll start off with Pierre Coste from France. So to go over their achievements, they recently got top 64 in Lille, and they finished 63 at EUIC, so strong result in 2024. Utrecht special event, top 32 in 2024 as well, and they got day 2 in Stuttgart in 2024. So strong player for France here, and they've got the Incineroar, Amoonguss, Kilowattrel. You heard it right, Kilowattrel, Golden Go, Porygon 2, and Ursaluna.
Yeah, so, I mean, Kilowattrel, it's not a Pokemon that we've never seen before. Every now and then it pops up, and, if it is in the right position, in the correct team, I feel like it is just, like, one of a kind of a Pokemon that fills its role really nicely. Of course, little things like, I don't know, being 1 point slower than Talonflame could be awkward, but it's not like we're in a Talonflame-dominated meta right now. So, you have the Tailwind speed, control, you have the competitive ability, which, of course, is really great against things like Intimidate Incineroar, or just, switch it into something like an Icy Wind, whatever, get that boost, and suddenly a Thunderbolt is gonna do a great amount of damage, as will an Air Slash. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, a +2 Air Slash could take out some Amoonguss, maybe. Could be wrong there, but don't underestimate the damage that this Pokemon can do if it does get that competitive boost, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fast Air Slash user with a flinch chance. When there's a flinch, there's a way. But what I like about this team as well, it's a bit of a mix and match. You've got the Porygon 2 as well, with the Trick Room mode. With that, the physical attacking Ursaluna there, with the Guts ability. So that will be hitting very hard. It's got the Terra Ghost to avoid any potential Fake Outs coming its way too, under those Trick Room modes. So yeah, very, very strong team. It's Terra Fairy on the Amoonguss notably as well. Yeah, we do see that maybe in other regulations a little bit more than Reg H, but yeah, Terra Fairy going to be stopping any potential scale shots coming out from any opposing Dragonites it might face.
Yeah, I think Dragonite is probably like the main reason right now why people are going for that Terra Fairy, despite a Pokemon like Sneasler, being in almost every other team at the moment. Also interesting here that usually with these Tailwind Trick Room teams, I'd be more used to seeing a Blood Moon Ursaluna, especially maybe in earlier regulations. But yeah, the regular Ursaluna can also fill that role, especially in the Marco Pierre Sun team. That is also like a Tailwind Trick Room Ursaluna. But yeah, here with Kilowattrel and Porygon 2. So in a way, yeah, a setup that we've seen quite a bit of, just, the Pokemon a little bit different.
Yeah, I quite like a physical Ursaluna here, because you've got a lot of special attackers here with the Kilowattrel and the Porygon, with that download boost, and the Goldengo. So having a physical attacker in Ursaluna, with the support alongside the Amoonguss and the Incineroar, is looking like a very, very strong team composition here.
Yeah, and Pierre Coste is going to go up against Jasdil Deo from India, whose team sheet we will be looking at right now. So this is a little bit, also a little bit more of a standard team, Rillaboom, Incineroar, Sneasler, Goldengo, and Electabuzz, but you do have this Kommo-o here, which once again is a Pokemon where I wouldn't say we don't see it at all. This Clangorous Soul's Throat Spray Terra Fire set, it is a set that, exists. We just don't see it that often. So really cool to see it here on stream.
Yeah, just to cover their achievements here. So they got Premier Ball top 16 in Malaysia this season. World Cup top 8 with India. Last VGC World Cup. World's top 10 28 last year also. And Malaysia national top 4. So very strong player coming out from India here. And like you say, fairly standard team. Terra Fairy on the Electabuzz notably. And this is the Clanging Scales Kommo set. And with the Throat Spray, so if it does get the Clanging Scales off, it will also get that Throat Spray activated, being at +2 special attack. So very, very scary to deal with alongside a Follow Me user.
Yeah, I don't know how well this Kommo is going to do into Pierre's team, because on the one hand, I feel like it's a really nice Pokemon to have on the field against most of Pierre's team. But then again, if the Kilowattrel is on the field and is threatening something like an Air Slash, I mean, maybe after a Clangorous Scales boost, you can take one of those, but you are going to need that Electabuzz support to redirect those moves. And if you're forced into a position where you have to Terra Fire, suddenly the Ursaluna hits you with Earthquake and Headlong Rush. So I think the Electabuzz here is going to be a crucial partner to always keep on the field, especially in that setup phase here. But then again, you also have to respect the Porygon too, and this Electabuzz does not have Taunt. So, that could give Pierre an opportunity to just set up that Trick Room.
Yeah, you're right, actually. It does not have the taunt. So I believe game 1 is ready for us to jump into here. So we are going to jump into that game. And we're already on the field here with Komodo,
Already on the
Electabuzz,
field.
and Porygon, and Incineroar.
Yeah, and that is the Electabuzz and the Komo, as I just mentioned. The Porygon 2 here could set up a Trick Room, and Komo is just gonna go for that Protect first, so does not wanna take that Fake Out, which is most likely gonna go into that slot. So yeah, gonna prevent a little bit of chip damage there. And the Electabuzz, I suppose, can go for that Electro Web. It's just gonna do a little bit of damage, and you know what? Even though it lowers the speed of these Pokemon and the Trick Room does go up, both of these Pokemon would have probably been the slowest on the field anyway, and, the Electabuzz isn't really doing anything else here, and you probably also don't want to switch it out yet. So I think in this position was the best that Jasdil could do.
Yeah, I think it was a decent move. I think it's probably just a safe play there, protecting the Komodo. But now that Pierre has Trick Room set up, they can just do whatever they like. I assume against these two Pokemon, they do have that special attack download boost as well, so they will be hitting very hard with this Porygon. Notably, it is Terra fighting as well. But yeah, I think they're in a really strong position. They can just kind of attack, go into Jasdil's team with attacks here, under the Trick Room.
Yeah, and of course the Komo here does have Soundproof, which means that Parting Shot is not going to work against it. But, something like a Spore in the back could, but yeah, the Electabuzz here is going to go for that Follow Me here. That is the main reason why it stayed on the field last turn, I would say. So yeah, Terra Blast and Parting Shot going into that Pokemon, which means the Incineroar will get to switch out here into something else. And I'm actually curious to see if the Komo still decides to go for the setup, or maybe just goes for some damage and then maybe switches out and tries to come back in later when the Trick Room has expired. So yeah, Ursaluna gonna switch in here for Pierre in the Trick Room.
Ooh.
And yeah, is gonna be that Clanging Scale, so that is gonna boost each of Komo's stat by 1 stage.
Yeah, I think it's a fairly safe play from Jasdil there, just to Follow Me. Allows that Komodo to get set up, so it will boost all of its stats by 1, except for special attack, it will go up by 2 because of that Throat Spray activating with the sound move going off. So this Komodo is looking suddenly very, very strong. It's not forced to Terra at all. And the Electabuzz can just Follow Me away any facades or headlong rushes. So Komodo looking really strong right now, even under these Trick Room conditions.
Oh yeah, definitely. Having that defense boost is definitely going to be nice against this Ursaluna, because going for that Clangorous Scales means that you sacrifice actually, a good amount of HP. I would say a third of amount of HP is against something like Ursaluna is kind of scary, but you have that defense boost, so you will be able to take at least 1 Earthquake, which of course would be the only move that would hit the Komo right now if the Electabuzz goes for another Follow Me. But, you also have to keep in mind that the Electabuzz would go down in this turn if you go for another Follow Me, and then you don't have redirection anymore. So yeah, Jasdil actually going for a Protect here, maybe trying to make a call here, but no, going for a double Protect. You know what? Also fair. Stall out that 1 turn of Trick Room, because you do want to get rid of that ASAP.
Yeah, exactly. It allows them to scout out as well what Pierre wants to do here. They do see the Facade command to Buzz and the Ice Beam command to Komodo, so on the next turn, you would assume. Don't forget, Porygon got -1 speed as well from the Electaweb on turn 1, so it will be like the fastest thing technically in Trick Room. So we'll be moving first here. So it is quite a safe Follow Me from the Electabuzz, and that might allow this Komodo to get an attack off. It should survive a Terra Blast / Ice Beam going into it.
Yeah, but again, I'm curious to see if the Ursaluna, now that Jasdil has gone for that double Protect, if it just goes for an Earthquake. And yeah, you hit your Porygon 2 for a bit of damage, but you do get damage onto this Komo, which, could be very important for Pierre to just, get the most out of this Trick Room as long as it is still up. And perhaps, then just go for a recover with the Porygon 2 in the next turn is going to be a follow me here from the Electabuzz. So yeah, because of that speed drop, the Porygon is going to go first, which is actually really good for Jasdil here because yeah, that Ice Beam is not going to be enough for the KO, and Ursaluna actually goes for a Facade. So this Como has once again not taken any damage and will now be free to go for that powerful Clangorous Souls. That is so much damage against that Porygon too, especially.
Yes, exactly. And I think quite a safe turn from Jasdil. There's now one turn of Trick Room left, I believe. So, it's quite easy kind of protect here to protect that Komodo. But you are right in saying that Porygon can recover any damage. But, still under threat here from both Goldengo and Komodo if they do double protect this turn.
Yeah, so one more turn of Trick Room here means that Jasdil can easily just go for that double protect. Both of these Pokemon have access to that move. And yeah, I mean, the Porygon 2 can easily recover here. But then next turn, I mean, I guess it could survive a double up and then go for another Trick Room. So a double protect might not even be the safest play here for Jasdil if, he wants to not only get rid of the Trick Room, but also prevent another one from going up in the next turn. Ursaluna is going to switch out here, so Pierre may be, once again, trying to predict a double protect and trying to reposition here a little bit, is going to get that Incineroar out, which is actually really nice against this Goldango here on Jasdil's side. The Intimidate on the Komo isn't going to matter that much. Goldango actually does go for the protect. Will the Komo also go for a protect? Yes, it will.
Very nice play from Pierre, recognizing that a double protect will just stall this Trick Room out. So does it swap in a fake out user with that Incineroar? Also does naturally resist the Goldengo as well. So on this next turn here, it's quite easy for Pierre to fake out and pick Trick Room. And even if Goldengo gets a nasty plot off, it's there's 4 turns of Trick Room for that Goldengo to contend with here. So probably not a massive threat, right?
Yeah, and I think this is a great reposition here for Pierre, bringing that Incin here, and as you just mentioned, go for that Fake Out and Trick Room one more time. The Ursaluna in the back is going to threaten some more damage than when it comes back out, and now that the redirection on Jasdil's side is gone, that Ursaluna can easily attack into the Komodo. But of course, both of the Goldango and the Komodo have Protect, so there might be some calls there that both players will have to make, honestly. So yeah, Fake Out into this Komodo here. Is the Goldango just going to go for a nasty plot here? No, it is just going to go for that Make It Rain. Both of these Pokemon take that so well, even if it is a Life Orb Goldango. These are two very, very tanky Pokemon, and we get one more Trick Room here set up by Porygon 2. But yeah, the Ursaluna in the back is very low, so even though the Trick Room is up, this isn't a position where Pierre is now threatening a lot of damage. This Goldango still has access to Terra, so could go for Terra Water, for instance, if it does not want to get, taken out by something like a knockoff.
Yeah, I think Jasdil on that previous turn just kind of recognizing that Goldango's on the best position, right? So getting to Make It Rain, getting some damage down. But we do see Goldango come in for Pierre here over the Incineroar. We do see that recover come out from Porygon, so we'll go back to maximum HP, and we just do see a nasty plot come out from the opposing Goldango here, even though it's under threat from Incineroar. And we do see Komodo just attack with Clangorous Soul as well. Not Clangorous Soul. I stand corrected. No, that is correct. Clangorous Soul does come out and damages both Porygon and Goldango.
Yeah, so I mean, the Clangorous Souls, it is boosted as +2, but that Goldango and the Porygon 2 take that very nicely, or in a position where Porygon 2 can just continue to go for recovers, and the Goldango here for Pierre is in a position where it can also just go for a Shadow Ball, because I'm gonna guess that if you're playing Trick Room, your Goldango might be on the slower side, so Jasdil, I mean, technically we don't know which Goldango here is the faster one, but I would have to guess it is probably Pierre. So yeah, Jasdil gonna go for a double protect once again, gonna try to stall out the Trick Room once again. Porygon gonna continue going for those recovers, and perhaps did Pierre call this again and maybe set up a nasty plot off his own? No.
No.
Unfortunately,
yeah,
not.
we just see that Shadow Ball, I think that was, into the opposing Goldango, so that might mean we kind of understand the speed tiers here. Pierre possibly being confident you know, not tearing into that Terra Water defensive Terra, just clicking Shadow Ball into the opposing Goldengo in the Trick Room. So that might tell us that this Goldengo is perhaps faster than Jasdil's Goldengo inside the Trick Room.
Yeah, and I mean, even if it's not and it goes down, you do bring the Ursaluna in, but yeah, I think Pierre in this position is confident that, okay, I'm the Trick Room Goldango. I am probably the slower one. So even if the Goldango goes for something like a Terra Water, that just means I can now hit it with Terra Blast. So definitely not over yet from either player, because I'm curious to see how well Komo'o takes moves from the Ursaluna in the back. And, you know, maybe see if the Goldango manages to stick around here for Jasdil. Is going to go for that Terra Water now. And yeah, the Terra Blast goes into that predicting Terra Water and followed up with a Shadow Ball. So Pierre going for a strong call there. Just going to take that Goldango out on Jasdil's side. That was a great move there. You know, even if the Goldango without the Terra is a Ghost type, if it goes for the Water type, you're suddenly going to get hit hard by that Terra Blast. But yeah, Pierre's Goldango also goes down to the Flamethrower.
Yeah, that was a nice play from both. I think Jasdil maybe hoping that they, you know, survive that pin there from the Terra Blast and the Shadow Ball, but in fact their Goldango does indeed go down. But we do see a trade for Pierre's Goldango going down as well, so that Flamethrower +2 from the Komo'o, easily enough to take it down there. So we do see Ursaluna now come in inside this Trick Room conditions, and it is Sneasler in the back for Jasdil.
Oh man. Okay, this is, yeah. This is actually looking kind of tricky for Pierre now, because there's only one more Trick Room turn left, if I saw that correctly there. And Sneasler has access to Fake Out, but I believe Pierre has not gone for Terra yet. And Ursaluna is Terra Ghost, so you could go for a Terra Ghost here, predicting a Fake Out. But then again, you know, Jasdil can also just make the safe play of going for one more double protect to scout out any Terras, or, you know, just safely stall out the Trick Room.
Yeah, the last time they did that, though, the Instinct came out, and it's going to happen again on the last turn of Trick Room. Yeah, it's going to send out that Incineroar with that Fake Out pressure, and on the next turn, and the Intimidate coming down onto the Sneasler and this Komo'o, which doesn't really affect it, but it does affect the Sneasler here. And what we're going to see, a Terrassalization on the side of Pierre here. It is going to be that Porygon 2 into that Terra Fighting. So that Terra Blast now going to be hitting pretty hard with Stab Terra Fighting here.
Yeah, fair play there by Pierre, you know, not wanting to be weak against any close combat. And with that Intimidate, you know, that Porygon would have taken that very well. But yeah, Jasdil going to go for another double protect. And once again, this puts Pierre into a position where now, in this upcoming turn, he can just go for a Fake Out and for one more Trick Room. And at this point, maybe Jasdil has to hope that the Fake Out goes into the Komo'o and he gets a Dire Claw sleep.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, there's a Dire Claw, there's a way.
Just, you know, deal some big damage here. The Ursaluna in the back is still low, so, you know, the burn could very well take it out eventually. Ooh. Oh, actually, a crit taking out that Incineroar. Actually, I'm not sure how great that is for Jasdil, because now the Ursaluna just gets a free switch in Trick Room here. Had the Incineroar stayed on the field, you could have stalled out that Trick Room for a while without the Ursaluna getting a free switch in. So this is actually looking really nice for Pierre now.
Yeah, exactly, and even if Jasdil double protects here, the Ursaluna is easily not, you know, it won't go down to its own burn, so it's in a really strong position now that crit on the Incineroar did take it out. Ursaluna gets in for free, you know, 4 turns of Trick Room. I don't think we're going to see 4 protects here. It does have Earthquake, but I'd be surprised to see it click Earthquake. Okay, no, it's just going to click Earthquake. I'm eating my words here. We do see a protect come out from Jasdil's Sneasler, and we are going to see the double protect, yeah, so the Komo'o does go for that protect.
Yeah, no, at this point, you know, I think we haven't mentioned yet that each time the Komo'o used those Clangorous Souls, it lowered its defenses by 1 stage. So at this point, I think the Ursaluna can just go for an easy Earthquake and take out both of these Pokemon on Jasdil's side. And even if it's not enough to take out the Komo'o, you know, with a double up from the Porygon, it should be more than enough. Yeah, it takes a lot here from its own Earthquake, but it's really unlikely that Jasdil just gets a massive amount of double protects here.
Yeah, they're in a nice position because that Porygon has got that, you know, that -1 speed from the very first turn. So they can just click recover and go before their own Ursaluna and safely click that Earthquake. But we do see that double protect attempt come out from the Sneasler, and it is just that recover again from the Porygon. So I think we all know what's coming here. It's probably likely an Earthquake from the Ursaluna, and that is indeed what they do click, and that does finish the job.
So yeah, the 3 Trick Rooms in that game, and that was Jasdil's downfall in the end there. Really, a lot of 50-50 calls there for both players, in my opinion. And I think Pierre just got the calls right more often in that first game, and that's what helped him win the first game here. Yeah, getting 3 Trick Rooms up is something that Jasdil definitely is not allowed to let Pierre get up again in this game too. That is definitely an adjustment he will have to make, because in this case it really was just that clear that in Trick Room Jasdil is at a great disadvantage. That's why he was so desperate to stall out, you know, all of them. He managed to stall out 2 of them. The third one was just too much.
Yeah, I think you called it correctly. I think I would like to see a slight adjustment here from Jasdil, maybe leading with a fake out user that's faster than the Incineroar on the other side, just because they can kind of fake out, set up, and then threaten the Porygon on the next turn, per se. So, yeah, I think that Electabuzz was not the strongest lead into that Trick Room mode, just because it doesn't have Taunt. You know, we saw it click Electric Web on turn 1, and we saw Komodo Protect. So maybe that wasn't the strongest play coming out from them on that lead. But we are going to go into game 2 now, Shona. So we are going to see any adjustments that these trainers are going to make.
I actually wonder if we're gonna see the Rillaboom in this game too, which I believe is ready, so we are gonna hop into that in just a second. But yeah, I think Rillaboom could be a possible adjustment here for Jasdil. Get that grassy terrain up, you know, weaken the Earthquake, get recovery on that Komodo, have your own fake out pressure here, so if the Incineroar comes in, you can counter that fake out yourself. So that could be a possible lead there. I still think the Electabuzz in the back is okay. But yeah, as you mentioned, in the lead there, it really didn't do much. And although the Electro Web, maybe in some turns in a funny way, was nice for Jasdil later, in the end, you know, it did work out better for Pierre. So yeah, once again, it's going to be Porygon 2 on the field. In combination with Ursaluna here, which is going to take an Intimidate from this Incineroar. Another good adjustment here from Jasdil, you know, lowering the attack of this Ursaluna is definitely also going to help out. And the Komodo here, once again. So yeah, this Incin already looking like it's going to do a lot more work than the Electabuzz in that first game, is going to give this Komodo an opportunity to set up once more, especially since this Ursaluna does not have the Guts Burn yet, so it is not going to do as much damage as it usually would with the Flame Orb.
Yeah, and Porygon is susceptible to that fake out, so it's unlikely to get Trick Room up this turn. And yeah, we don't really care about the Ursaluna here because it is -1 without that Flame Orb burn. And Komodo can just set up here for free, click that Clangorous Soul to set up, and plus it's defense by 1 as well. So it can, yeah, here we go. So, oh, there's no fake out though. So we just see the Komodo click Clangorous Soul. It's going to raise all of its stats here, and that Throat Spray will activate as well, just to raise its special attack by 1 more stage.
Yeah, not going for fake out here. Actually, also very fair in my opinion. If you're confident that the Ursaluna is not going to go for a protective maybe, but it's actually going to be faster than the Incineroar here, if I saw that correctly. I don't think the Incineroar went for a move yet. So yeah, but without the Flame Orb boost, is going to be able to take that, especially since it was able to fire off an Intimidate. Citrus Berry will recover a little bit of HP, and now it is going to be a knockoff from this Incineroar actually. And I also respect that play, because now the Porygon 2 is going to take a lot more damage for the rest of the game. Getting rid of the Eviolite is huge.
It is, and that's a very nice move actually, if you do have something like that Rillaboom in the back, where, you know, potentially you can protect and swap in Rillaboom this turn to stop the double up going into the Komodo. But we do see the Porygon actually retreat straight away in the first turn Trick Room, and they do send out, PS sends out their Incineroar here, so we'll get that Intimidate down on the opposing Incineroar. But I don't know if this Incineroar is going to stay in here, because it is under threat from Ursaluna. Yeah, it does go back, so Jasdil's Incineroar does go back into its Pokeball. And yeah, we are going to see that Rillaboom here, so very, very likely just to be the Protect here on the Komodo to keep it safe.
I'm actually surprised that Jasdil just went for a hard switch and not for a parting shot, because we saw that the Ursaluna was faster than the Incineroar in the turn that Trick Room was set up, and now that it is up, that Incineroar would be faster. So, but yeah, Jasdil going for the hard switch into that Rillaboom, which I think is a great adjustment here. And yeah, the Kommo-o will be able to deal a good amount of damage to both of these Pokemon. Of course, you have to respect the Fake Out here from the Incineroar, but Ursaluna has already lost one special defense and defense set here, and the more it goes for Headlong Rush, the more it will lose. So yeah, Pierre recognizing that it's not in a great position here to really deal or, you know, get the necessary KOs without being knocked out itself. So Amoonguss is going to come down here. Kommo-o is going to take that Fake Out here, and a Wood Hammer into that switch in. Amoonguss is going to take that very, very nicely and will now threaten this Kommo-o with a Spore.
Yeah, this Kommo-o is importantly not overcoat. It is soundproof, so it is weak to this Amoonguss in the Trick Room. It's not got a defensive terror. And I'm looking at the team, so unless you have Electabuzz in the back or Goldengo, this team, these four are quite weak to Amoonguss in Trick Room, right? It can just kind of do whatever it likes and click Spore, and kind of just put everything to sleep here. But we are going to see a Terastallization here on the side of Jasdil.
No.
Is that Kommo-o into the Terra Fire? So going for that defensive Terra here in front of these two. I'm going to see that Spore though into the Kommo-o. So yeah, it's just going to go instantly to sleep.
Yeah, okay, interesting to see the Terra Fire here, because, I mean, you're already resisting Blitz, so I might be missing something. I'm not sure why the Terra Fire here was necessary. I guess potentially to go for a Flamethrower if the Amoonguss does not go for a Spore into Kommo-o. But yeah, now that it is Terra Fire and asleep, that just means that this Ursaluna is gonna be able to hit it super effectively. Of course, it does have to respect the Rillaboom here, but yeah, that Wood Hammer in this turn gonna go into the Amoonguss. I mean, you know, there's the Grassy Glade next turn, or, I mean, if the Ursaluna goes for a Headlong Rush into the Kommo-o, the Rillaboom just goes for a Wood Hammer into the Ursaluna, and then both sides lose their strongest attacker at the moment. So, and that leaves Pierre with just an Amoonguss and a Porygon 2 without Eviolite. So that trade-off, I think, would work out in Jasdil's favor, actually.
Yeah, I can't actually see how many turns of Trick Room are left, because it's covered up by the player face, but I think it is 2, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, that Wood Hammer into the Amoonguss was an interesting, potentially, you know, predicting an Ursaluna switch in there. But yeah, as you say, they are threatened by the Wood Hammer now, but it is a Terra Ghost Ursaluna, and it is a -1 Rillaboom. So, you know, it can be pollen puffed, it can be, you know, you can bring Incin for that Amoonguss slot. So I think that's what we're actually seeing now. We're going to see that Incin come back in and drop another Intimidate on this poor Rillaboom. So, you know, it's going to be hitting a lot less harder than it would be here. So making the most out of the Trick Room turns. We are going to see a Terastallization now on the side of Pierre's field, and it will be that Ursaluna into that Terra Ghost. So no longer taking super effective damage from those Wood Hammers from the Rillaboom here.
Yeah, in combination with that attack drop from the Intimidate, maybe it can take a Wood Hammer from the Rillaboom. So yeah, Headlong Rush here into the Kommo-o means that it will take out that Pokemon, very important threat, off the field, but you are lowering your defenses here again. But this Rillaboom, unlike the other one we saw on stream earlier, is not Metal Plate, it is Assault Vest. So I'm gonna say that this Ursaluna, being as tanky as it is, can probably take this very nice. Yes, so yeah, very nice there from Pierre, you know, switching in that Intimidate and going for that Terra in that position. And really, yeah, turning the tables, making a turn that would have been great for Jasdil work out better for him.
Yes, and that actually, I stand corrected, that was the last turn of the Trick Room. So the Incin is in a good position here. Oh, okay, we might see an interesting interaction here, right? Because we don't really know yet which Incineroar is faster. So this could be an interesting fake-out war between the two. But yeah, safe play Pierre can make. Probably just switch out that Ursaluna, keep it safe. Bring in something like the Amoonguss. All that Porygon. It does not have his Eviolite, but that Rillaboom is -2, so it might comfortably, not comfortably, but it should take a Wood Hammer. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting turn.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Porygon 2 in this position could have been like a gaming Pokemon, but even with the Intimidates, you know, that having lost that Eviolite, just means that if the Rillaboom switches out, or you don't get those attack drops on the physical Pokemon, they're gonna still deal a good amount of damage, and the Skoldango is a special attacker, so that is also going to deal a lot of damage with the Make It Rains. I mean, it is probably gonna need a nasty plot there, but and also it is threatened by this Incineroar, of course. That is the best Pokemon here for Pierre at the moment, I think. I think he really needs to preserve this Incineroar. It's great against Skoldango, it's great against the Rillaboom, and of course, Incineroar versus Incineroar. There is a little bit of a stall war there, but Jasdil's Incineroar has lost more health so far, but it is the only Incineroar with Citrus Berry in this matchup.
Yeah, but I think Pierre's in a good position because they're threatening that Gholdengo slot, right? So, you can Flare Blitz it or knock off it. They don't have Terra available on Jasdil's side, so, it's going to be a Rillaboom on the, that could come in for that. So Flare Blitz is quite safe into that slot potentially, and that, if they do protect, Trick Room does go up again. So that will be a really strong position for PS. I think they have the advantage on this turn.
I think something that we also actually need to keep in mind, okay, this Make It Rain here, yeah, doing a good amount to the Skoldango, but if you're Pierre here, like, do you set up the Trick Room or not, or do you try to? You might not even get the chance. Porygon 2 goes down. But yeah, the Ursaluna in the back is Terra Ghost, which means that Gholdengo can hit it with Shadow Ball, and Incineroar can hit it with Knockoff. And, there you go, the Gholdengo already took some damage here now from the knockoff on the Incin. But this Ursaluna is not really in a great position to really go for an attacking move, because it can either be knocked out by the Incineroar or the Gholdengo here, no matter if Trick Room were up or not. Because we saw the Incineroar on Jasdil's side was slower than the Ursaluna outside Trick Room. So that is a little bit of a tough position there for this Pokemon. But again, if you go for a Protect, maybe knock out the Gholdengo, things could look very different suddenly.
This is a nice play. I'm liking what I'm seeing here. It's kind of a bait. The Ursaluna's a bait here, so they're going to return that straight away back into its Pokeball, bait out this Gholdengo to attack it. And it's going to bring out that full HP Amoonguss. So, very, very nice play from Pierre here to potentially bring themselves back in. But it is a Protect from that Gholdengo, though. So this play not really going to amount to anything. And it is a knockoff into that poor Amoonguss, so Citrus Berry is gone.
Yeah, I think Jasdil saw what Pierre might want to do there and decided to not just go for the double up just yet. Went for the Protect on the Gholdengo, because really once this Gholdengo is knocked out, and I mean the Rillaboom in the back is still such a threat. It's really not going to be easy for this Ursaluna to get that knockout on the Incineroar. That is the Pokemon that I think Pierre needs to just get a clean KO. I really think Pierre needs to take out first this Gholdengo and then the Rillaboom with both of these Pokemon before then, in the end, bringing in the Ursaluna one more time to finish off the Incineroar. I think that is the game plan here.
Yeah, I think they need to get rid of that Incineroar on the other side, right? Because Amoonguss can do okay against this Gholdengo, but against Incineroar is kind of doomed. It does Make It Rain at -1 special attack. Does a decent amount of damage into that Amoonguss, and without its Citrus Berry, it's not going to recover here, so... Yeah, Jasdil's Flare Blitz into that Amoonguss slot will be easily enough to take it out. Maybe Pierre, I can't remember what they clicked here, but it could be just, an attack into that Gholdengo.
I would think so.
Yeah. It is a Flare Blitz, just to cover, just in case it does swap out into Rillaboom. But yeah, I think you're right now. I think Rillaboom and Incin for Jasdil should be enough to win Jasdil the game here.
Yeah, I think at this point you might need a double Protect on the Rillaboom, because... or not the Rillaboom, on the Ursaluna. The question here now, of course, is does the Rillaboom go for the Fake Out on the Incineroar? Or does it just attack the Ursaluna right away? Because I would say that Incineroar on Jasdil's side could knock out the Ursaluna, but once again, it is a slow Incineroar. We saw that before, so... If you Fake Out the Incineroar here, then Ursaluna just takes out the Jasdil's Incineroar. So if you're Ursaluna here, do you go for a Protect, predicting that a Wood Hammer is just going to happen? Or do you attack predicting a Fake Out is going to happen? What is more likely to happen here? I'm actually not sure.
It's a 50-50, because both players could lose a lot if they get the call incorrect here. So we are seeing Pierre double that Rillaboom slot. So... if it is a Fake Out into Incineroar, Ursaluna will take it up. But it is a Fake Out into the Incineroar. So the Ursaluna will probably move first. It does move first. It does take out that Rillaboom as well. So what a play from Pierre, recognizing that that was their win con. And, you know, we're going to see Instant knock off that Ursaluna. So it's going to be an Incineroar versus Incineroar endgame here to potentially close the set out for Pierre or take it to a game 3 for Jasdil.
Yeah, it is the Incineroar 1v1 endgame here now. But I believe Jasdil's Incineroar... they have a... They have the same amount of HP and the grass is still up. But I think only Jasdil's Incineroar is at -1 currently.
It is. Yeah.
So there is that advantage, but of course things like critical hits can still happen. May come down to that it's so little damage. Yeah, Jasdil opting for the Flare Blitz. Yeah, Pierre going for the knockoff there. That could have possibly cost him the game. I think if he had just gone for 2 Flare Blitz, that might have been fine. We saw how much Flare Blitz, or how much more Flare Blitz did there for Jasdil.
It is -1, so I'm not sure, and it's trying to maintain it. Oh, they are speed tying as well. So we do see Jasdil's Instinct go first that turn. And it does go for the Flare Blitz. Doesn't quite take out Pierre's Incineroar. We do see a Flare Blitz from Pierre's Incineroar. Yeah, look how little damage that's doing.
That
The -1.
so little. I think in this case Jasdil still gets the win. If you go for another Flare Blitz here as Pierre, you live the recoil, but you don't KO it. So yeah, Jasdil actually wins the Incineroar show off. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Pierre did get the call correctly when there were still 4 Pokemon on the field, but I expected that Jasdil's Incineroar would go down first if both sides had just gone for a Flare Blitz there. Knockoff just did so much less.
Yeah, I think the problem was Pierre's Incineroar was intimidated. But they went for the play they had to go for to potentially win the game, which is not protecting that Ursaluna and taking out that Rillaboom instead. And, you know, Instant versus Instant endgame, I've done it before, we've all been there. It can go either way, you know, with any critical hits. And it's interesting they're the same speed stat as well. So, yeah, very interesting interactions there. Really, really fun game. So, Shona, what do you think in game 3 both the trainers' adjustments could be?
Oh yeah, that's gonna be tough. It was Pierre's Instant that was intimidated, right? I thought it was
Yes, yeah. No, it was Pierre.
Or were they both
intimidated? Yeah.
Right. So adjustments. I mean, I think Trick Room is still the play here for Pierre, but you know, having lost the Eviolite on that Porygon 2 and then not being able to go for another Trick Room, that was really, really great for Jasdil. I'm wondering, is there a world where you know, go for the Kilowatt mode and set up Tailwind? Because, you know, this Ursaluna, it did outspeed the Incineroar, so could, or most likely is then also a Pokemon that can do well in Tailwind. But you do need to respect that Kommo-o, and Tailwind, of course, doesn't have as many turns as Trick Room. I think the Amoonguss actually did the least amount of work here for Pierre, in my opinion. I think that is Pokemon I would probably not bring again in this third game.
Yeah, and I think Jasdil can easily bring the Electabuzz, but I'd personally I'd like to see the Kilowattrel because it would you know, stop the Instant. It wouldn't stop the Instant pivoting, but it would punish it with the competitive ability. And barring Electabuzz, it's kind of hitting everything for really good damage, the Kilowattrel. So, but we will have to see which adjustments the trainers make, because we are going to go into that final game of this set now between Pierre and Jasdil. So we do see the Kommo and the Electabuzz lead again, the same as game 1 for Jasdil. And we do see the Instant Porygon 2 for Pierre.
Yeah, no Kilowattrel lead here. I think that was a good point by you that, you know, Incineroar did a lot of work on both sides in the second game. So having that competitive ability on the field would make that a lot trickier for Jasdil in this case. But yeah, it is Incineroar and Porygon 2 on the field here. So we are once again trying to go for that Trick Room setup, I'm guessing. And Jasdil once again has this Electabuzz on the field like in game 1. And, you know, in that position, we said that it didn't really do a lot. It stayed on the field because it wanted to go for the follow me in the next turn. So yeah, another fake out happening here. Another Electro Web here. The Komodo this time not going for a protect, so not preventing that bit of chip damage. So, but fair, in my opinion. Jasdil maybe going, still going for it, hoping that perhaps maybe I'll get the setup after all. But Porygon 2 is gonna get that Trick Room set up. And once again here, once this Ursaluna comes in, that is gonna be a great position for Pierre.
Yeah, and I think that for Jasdil, it's kind of safe now to click follow me and Clanger Soul to get that setup going on the Komodo. Instead, we do see Pierre actually retreat that Incin, save it for later on, and bring in that Ursaluna. So yeah, this is a good call if it is that follow me and Clanger Soul play.
Yeah, and there is the follow me. I'm gonna guess we are gonna see the clanging skills. And yeah, Porygon just gonna go for that Ice Beam here. Gonna do a good amount of damage and actually get a freeze. I was just thinking, what if it gets the freeze here? That'd be the only reason why I would go for that move over Terra Blast, I think, in the situation. Yeah, that means that the redirection is not gonna be there safely for Jasdil in that next turn. It could thaw out immediately, but if it doesn't, this Komodo is gonna be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, how does Jasdil get out of this one? It's a frozen Electabuzz, as we know it's Incin in the back, so they could bring that into Intimidate, but this Ursaluna is Terra Ghost, so it's... What is a safe play here? I think maybe bringing in Incin for Electabuzz could be the call. That could save them the game, right, with the Intimidate and the Komodo being +1 defense right now, so that could save the Komodo the next turn. It's difficult now with that, with that 10% freeze on Jasdil's Electabuzz. It's opt to stay in and it stays frozen. So we're gonna see. Okay, it's a protect from Komodo. Maybe the Electabuzz actually went to protect there.
I think this is actually safer for Jasdil because switching in the Incin would mean that it is susceptible to something like an Earthquake or Headlong Rush. But the Facade gonna go into that Komodo. Yeah, had the Electabuzz gone down here, you get a free switch into Incineroar, you get the Intimidate, you have Fake Out Pressure, but now the Frozen Electabuzz is still on the field. I'm actually not too sure that the Komodo can live a Facade here, even if Incineroar switches in and gets an Intimidate. I think that could be very close, just because, Facade is that powerful of a move.
It is, but Komodo's +1, and if they send Incin out over the Electabuzz, for example, it would go down to -1 attack. So there is a chance if Pierre does not double the Komodo slot, and Jasdil does send out an Incineroar for the Intimidate here, they could survive and get off a big Clanging Scales.
Yeah, and especially if the Ursaluna goes for... I mean, it's probably just gonna go for Facade again, so it's not gonna lose any defenses. So yeah, the Frozen Electabuzz is gonna switch out here for Jasdil.
Okay.
It's gonna be that Incineroar. Is the Porygon 2 gonna double up into the Komodo with this Ursaluna? Because I'm thinking those two together will probably take that out. Yeah, it is gonna be a Terra Blast here, and that will definitely knock out the Komodo now here, the Facade from the Ursaluna, and that Pokemon goes down. That is just really unfortunate for Jasdil. That freeze, getting rid of that redirection in that way. That, the Komodo really couldn't get into a position to get off a move there.
Yeah, I think doubling the Komodo there is a safe play, but Jasdil's really only hope to get through that turn was for Pierre to, to not double up that slot and potentially survive a Facade. Komodo was only just over half HP though, so, I'd find it unlikely, but I think that was their kind of chance there to potentially come back into the game. But we do see this Rillaboom as the final Pokemon, so it's Incineroar, Rillaboom, Electabuzz left. To try and stall out these Trick Room turns here.
Yeah, but that is really not a lot of damage on Jasdil's side at all. The Pokemon that's going to do the most damage here is this Rillaboom, which, it resists the ground moves, but it's not resisting this powerful Facade from the Ursaluna. And especially this Porygon 2 is going to be such a tough Pokemon to take down if you don't have a lot of damage, especially if it still has Recover. And Pierre also has his own Incineroar, which is going to intimidate both of these physical attackers here. And the Ursaluna is going to switch out here, is going to bring in that, it is going to be the Incineroar. So that is another Intimidate onto both of these physical attackers, and even if the Porygon 2 maybe loses its Eviolite here once again, that is just such a good position for Pierre, and so much damage from that Ice Beam there. Yeah, Eviolite knocked off.
Oh,
And the high horsepower into the Incineroar. So, yeah, fair play there by Jasdil. Great call, but does it really help you get into a better position? Not really, in my opinion.
not really. Nice play, predicting the Estelina swap out there. But yeah, they have a lot to do to come back into this game, I feel. This Porygon 2 has lost its Eviolite, but it's still dishing out a lot of damage under Trick Room conditions. It got that special attack boost on turn 1 download, so it's threatening Rillaboom. It's kind of threatening Incineroar as well with the normal Terra Blast attack with stab. So yeah, this is hard, right? I think. Oh yeah, Trick Room is expired. My bad. So they are going for another Trick Room play here.
Yeah, Rillaboom switching out here. Like we said, I think it is Jasdil's best shot here in this endgame. They have fake out into that still frozen Electabuzz, followed by a parting shot in this Incineroar. Gonna bring the Rillaboom back in here, and yeah, the Porygon 2 will be able to set up another Trick Room. And we saw how much the Ice Beam did to that Rillaboom that one time. Another one will knock it out. It does have one fake out turn, so, maybe the Electabuzz thaws out, but yeah, if you fake out the Porygon 2, this Incineroar can just knock out the Electabuzz. So maybe if you're Jasdil here, you switch out the Electabuzz again, bring in the Incineroar, just keep threatening fake outs every single turn as best as you can. It's tough here. Both this Incineroar and Porygon 2 are just so hard to take out here.
Yeah, Terrestrialization has not been used on either side. So this Rillaboom does have Terra Fire Terrestrialization as well to potentially, I don't really know what's going to do in return, but it could threaten a high horsepower KO now that's not intimidated. If it Terra Fires here, or maybe, yeah, like you said, they're just retreating the Rillaboom, cycling in the Incin for those fake out turns.
Yeah, one more Intimidate here onto the Incineroar and also the Porygon 2. This point, this Terra Blast is still so scary. It's gonna take out that Electabuzz. Did not get to do anything in this game at all. No follow me's here. It was just so bad for Jasdil. And yeah, the Incineroar is just gonna lose those Intimidate drops, gonna parting shot into Jasdil's Incineroar, and gonna be able to get a switch in here on Pierre's side. And yeah, I mean, do you bring in the Ursaluna or not? It's definitely not safe here, but you can now easily just either bring in Amoonguss or just go for a double protect, and then your Ursaluna's in a great spot. But I think it's fine to bring the Amoonguss in here. Quite a few Trick Rooms have already expired. So I think Pierre just wants to get this Porygon 2 into a position where it gets off another fresh Trick Room once this one has expired, and then just have the Ursaluna maybe get the KO it needs on the Rillaboom. I think the grassy terrain also gonna have to expire soon, so that Rillaboom won't have priority grassy
no fake
as
out.
well. No fake out.
No fake out. So that his Amoonguss just gets to spoil this Incin and put it straight to sleep here. And yeah, the Ice Beam comes down to the Rillaboom. It does knock it out. So is this poor Incineroar left asleep versus all four, I believe, of Pierre's Pokemon?
It's I think you're right, because the Ursaluna and the Incin are also alive, yeah. And we know that the Incineroar is slower than the Ursaluna, so at this point you don't even need Trick Room. You can just hit powerful moves into this Incineroar until you win the game. The Terra is still open for Jasdil, so technically you can go for Terra Ghost on this Incineroar, but at this point it really isn't going to matter.
No, I don't think so either, and I think that we've just seen what Pierre's locked in. Maybe it's a good play. Yeah, that's just a full fit. I was just thinking out loud there. A safe play could have been Spring swapping Ursaluna.